tonight on Reporting Scotland. Unemployment here remains at historically low levels, but wages fail to keep up with the cost of living. The former Aberdeen and Dunfermline manager Jimmy Calderwood reveals he's been diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's at the age of 62.
I can't do nothing about it now, but other people maybe, might help other people.
Also in the programme, calls for mobiles in schools to be banned. Are they a help or a hindrance to learning? We'll be live at Parkhead as Kazakhstan side Astana prepares to play Celtic in the third round of the Champions League qualifier.
And from Shetland, via Stirling University, we have the story of the newest flower of Scotland.
Hello there, good evening. Unemployment has remained at historically low levels according to the latest official figures. The number of Scots seeking work in late spring fell by 12,000 and it also fell across the UK. But the figures also show pay is still falling behind price inflation. Our business correspondent David Henderson reports.
A digital centre for new technology in one of Scotland's oldest cities. Codebase in Stirling is a new hub for software firms, helping them start up and grow.
We see companies come to us as individuals with just an idea and they take a space in our co-working room. We help them with mentorship, access to investment, and some of those companies in the last 2 years have gone up to 20, 30 people. That's the kind of growth that we look at with these companies.
Technology firms are a key driver in Scotland's economy, attracting a skilled and flexible workforce.
Vibrant, quite simply. It's booming in Edinburgh and in Glasgow and also up in Aberdeen, and there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of innovation. Scotland is one of the leaders in the world, and I think that we have real opportunity in Stirling in particular to really push that even further.
This rise in self-employment and freelance work has helped boost the economy, and other factors are at work. Tourists are coming to Scotland in greater numbers, due in part to the fall in the value of the pound. And that's also given a boost to our exporters. And there have been calmer waters lately for the oil and gas industry, which has helped jobs in the northeast. The latest official figures point to a healthy job market, with the number of people in work rising and the number of people out of work close to a historic low. But despite that, average weekly wages have actually fallen. This jobs market researcher told me there's been a squeeze on wages for several years.
The labour market has changed quite a lot in recent years. It's more fluid, it's more flexible. People tend to be doing work paid by the hour or by the task. There's a rise in self-employment and so on. And all of these things mean that the balance of power has shifted slightly from workers to firms. And as a result, workers have less confidence to ask for pay increases.
So while more of us are in work now, the jobs market has changed. A more flexible workforce brings opportunity, but less certainty on pay. David Henderson, Reporting Scotland.
One of Scottish football's biggest personalities has been diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's disease. Should mobile phones be banned from schools? The Scottish Conservatives have called for a complete ban in primary schools and head teacher limits in secondaries. The government said schools already have these powers, but a total ban is not a wise way forward. As pupils return in many parts of Scotland, Morag Kinnebra takes a look at the issue.
For many, a mobile is a must-have at school, a way to keep in touch and up to date.
You're constantly doing stuff on talking on Facebook or Snapchat and sending photos and posting stuff. So it's really important. I don't really know what I'd do without it.
You need to have it to keep in contact with people and keep in contact with what's happening in the world. And if you didn't have it, you might be lost, and yeah, I just feel lost without it.
Some teachers ask pupils to use phones in class for research or calculators. These pupils say they know the dangers of inappropriate use and accept there have to be limits. Some want more restrictions.
Being tighter on when you're allowed to have them and in what scenarios you're allowed to have your phone on would be a lot better.
Currently in this school, if you're connected to the Wi-Fi, some social media platforms you can't get onto. So that's good because it prevents distractions in class from some pupils.
A study down south found banning mobile phones in school during exam revision improved results. But this academic argues it's better to allow controlled access.
You can become not just a consumer of information, but a producer of information, being able to engage with knowledge networks that develop online, that give you access to further knowledge, to further opportunities. So there's an entire world out there that needs to be explored, but needs to be explored in a safe way.
Phones can help teaching, but can also distract and disrupt. Unions argue teachers want to educate, not police pupils.
So it'd only be with the sanction of the teacher that the phone was being used in the classroom. There's also some concern in the corridor situation on the playground because mobile phones can in these situations be used inappropriately. So it's harder to police when you're in a more open space.
Head teachers can ban or restrict phones in Scottish schools. Many say blanket bans seem unworkable, but limits are keenly debated. Maura Kinneborough reporting Scotland, East Lothian.
A 14-year-old girl's been sexually assaulted at a subway station in Glasgow. Residents in the Fife town of Buckhaven have been warned to stay indoors with their windows closed because of the amount of smoke being emitted by a large fire. A brute force cyber attack on the Scottish Parliament's IT system is continuing, but the hackers have not managed to penetrate the defences. The world's first floating offshore wind farm has arrived in the waters of northeast Scotland. The High Wind project was built in Norway before being pulled into position off Peterhead. Our energy correspondent Kevin Keane reports.
In the hostile waters of the North Sea, 15 miles from Peterhead, this floating wind farm is making history. 5 turbines in all, each basically bobbing in the waves. The impressive bit is below the water. They're not fixed to the seabed but anchored by suction. It's a change from the norm for the Norwegian oil firm Statoil, but with huge potential.
The company has been shaped by hostile environment and harsh weather, and we see that we can use this expertise and technology in a completely new setting over to renewable energy.
Each one of these is almost 4 times bigger than the Forth Bridge, and with more wind out here, there's more potential for creating energy. Well, it does feel pretty gusty here at the moment. Winds are averaging about 23 miles an hour, and those are ideal conditions for this wind farm. If these turbines were turning at the moment, it would be operating at full power, generating enough electricity to power 20,000 homes. The floating farms are driven by technology Statoil's been developing for 15 years.
It wouldn't be possible to have this happening without the Statoil motion controller, and it basically compensates for the thrust on the turbine when you're producing, and also the movement of the waves by pitching the blades of the turbine.
Clever stuff.
Very clever, yes sir.
If the costs can be reduced, this technology could be used in deeper waters across the globe, all contributing to the worldwide drive for more sources of renewable energy. Kevin Keane reporting Scotland, Peterhead.
Well, Kevin is ashore in Peterhead for us this evening. Kevin, this is a landmark development in the development of floating wind farms, but offshore wind isn't that popular with environmentalists though, is it? The RSPB is already challenging 3 off the east coast.
Yes, this is a growing row about one particular large-scale development in the Firth of Forth, and it's been rumbling on now for several years. Scottish ministers initially said yes to it, and then it's gone through various levels of legal challenge. And yesterday, RSPB Scotland lodged its latest appeal with the Supreme Court. Now, they're concerned about the potential impact that this one particular development could have on migrating seabirds and other sensitive bird and sea life in the area. And today, a group of 30 companies in the supply chain for the offshore renewable sector have come together to write an open letter to RSPB Scotland, essentially appealing to them to give up this fight. They say that the industry needs this big infrastructure project and they want to go ahead with it. But it's not just those who've been calling for this to happen. Some other environmental groups like Friends of the Earth Scotland are also in disagreement with RSPB Scotland. They're saying that they want more offshore renewables to be developed, and they say that the trade-off lies not where RSPB want it to be, but where it currently is.
Kevin, many thanks. Planning permission's been given for what will be Scotland's largest solar farm. The project near Urquhart in Murray could see about 80,000 solar panels installed. The farm will be constructed on a site the size of about 40 football pitches. Work's expected to start within the next few months. Now, did you know that buying alcohol for someone underage could land you a fine, a prison sentence, or even both? A specially commissioned poem remembering the war poet Wilfred Owen has been performed for the first time at the Edinburgh Book Festival by the Scottish macker Jackie Kay. It's a Champions League playoff night for Celtic. Brendan Rodgers' side is just 2 games away from progressing to the prestigious group stage. Dave Rennie's been speaking about the challenges he faces as the new head coach of Glasgow Warriors. There is a new flower of Scotland. Researchers from Stirling University have discovered the new plant growing in Shetland.